Sophia Banff, let's see what your dating advice is today.
I hate living in this nonchalant generation because if I could tell you that I loved you right now, I probably would. What do you mean I have to wait 30 minutes to
Okay, and here we go with more lies, right? How often does this happen? I love you so much. You are my favorite. This only applies, and I'm going to be a little bit blunt and brutal about this. This only applies when the apparent value disparity is quite high. Okay. And I can talk about this from personal experience. I can talk about this from the experience of the thousands of guys I've coached at this point. I would say that when the value disparity between male and female is high, yes, they're going to be much more likely to say these things like, I love you and whatever, and be more obvious about their affection. Okay. But as soon as we start getting close or the perceived gap starts to close, then you're in this position where you're not going to get this as much. So maybe she would do this to a very select few guys, but would she do this to any guy that she remotely finds interesting? Probably not. But let's continue.
reply to a text? What do you mean I have to act like I don't like you so that you like me and then something happens? Why do we have to act like we don't like people for them to like us and then in the end
So it's all power dynamics, okay? So you're almost there. Like a lot of these girls are almost there, but not quite all the way there. So the reason you do this is because if you're gonna go for a guy that you don't perceive to be far beyond your level, you're going to play power games because then you want them to chase you and you want the dynamic to be extremely clear that you're the one that is the higher value party and they're the lower value party, and it's their job to permanently come after you and offer you tons more value in order to compensate for that value difference. That is why. Okay? The reason power dynamics exist because there's always a dom and a sub. Always, okay? And what a girl brings to the table in terms of her value and what a guy brings to the table in terms of his value is different, okay? There's different metrics apply. When the metrics are dialed in favor of the man, the woman's going to be aware of it on some level, right? And I mean, keep in mind, right? There's a bit of perceived value here. We're not going to go, plot an Excel chart, write down all of the different metrics for female, write down all the different metrics for male, try to, I guess, equalize the weightings of those two categories, and then try to put person A or female A versus male A, right? And try to compare. It doesn't work this way, guys, okay? There is some level of perceived value at play here, okay? So, back to the original point, okay? This is necessary due to a difference in perceived value, and the power dynamic is always at play. Therefore, it's important to recognize that when someone is chasing somebody, it's generally because they perceive them to be of higher value. Okay? That's the gist of it. That was a lot of words. But if you want to go back, replay this section again, it's important to know the reason why one person is a chaser and the other person is the leader or higher value party, however you want to word it. Okay, there's always one person that's chasing the other. Always. It's never mutual chase or mutual runaway. Okay, it never goes like this. There's always a higher value party, generally known as the Dom. Okay?
end up liking each other? Like, what's going on? Why do we all have to pretend like we don't like each other? I'm so full of love. Like, I need to tell everybody that I love them. Why do we have to act so nonchalant? I don't know.
To summarize this concept simply, when you try super hard, it signals scarcity. This is why being nonchalant is the way to go. Okay? Signaling scarcity is a sign of weakness. When you're trying extremely hard and you have nothing to show for your efforts, it's automatically recognized as a sign of scarcity. Okay? When you're nonchalant, regardless of your situation, people are going to question, why are you so comfortable and relaxed, even though what I'm seeing maybe isn't there yet? And now it gets deeper, right? It's automatically perceived as some form of confidence. Maybe they're on the way somewhere. Maybe they're on the path of getting to where they want to go. This is where it gets really, really deep, right? Because everyone's so used to the surface level stuff, right? And the surface level stuff just doesn't work anymore because people have abused that too many times. It's the same logic with the flowers, right? When you go with as a guy and you buy flowers, it's now seen as a cheap trick to buy affection, which is why for a lot of girls, isn't effective anymore. They might say it, right? But it's sort of a test, right? If you're gonna buy me flowers without knowing me and show up and try extremely hard, are you really that great, right? Are you valuing me a little bit too much? Once again, it's that power dynamic I'm talking about, okay? the party that cares the least has the least to lose, right? So it is what it is. If you like these types of breakdowns, make sure you check the Patreon in the description below. There, I have more in-depth content and you can talk to me directly.